Before we start our virtual PA meeting, may I ask Joshua to lead the opening prayer? Thank you, Josh.
Sure. Friends, teachers, let us pray today. In Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Father, thank you so much for this beautiful day you've given us. We're about to start our first lesson, PE. I pray that this lesson go well with this small webinar. I pray that this goes well and also for the rest of the day. I surrender the rest of the day into your hands, Father. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Okay, today is a special day because we have a guest speaker. He's from Toronto, Canada. His name is Lukas. So can we give a big round of applause to Lukas? Okay, you may active your speaker to say hi to Lukas. Silakan.
Hello, Lucas.
Hi, Lucas.
Hello, Lucas. Hello, Lucas.
Okay then. He's a student athlete. He's also a basketball player. He's good in playing music also. First time I saw Lucas, I quite amazed that he has a good attitude. I mean, this is one of my purpose to teach or coach young students or player. I mean, he has a good attitude, academic, and then socialize, and also music. So it's like one full package student. Yeah. And then usually by the end of academic year, grade 9 or grade 12 or even grade 6 we'll have like this seminar to make yourself will prepare for the next step or school. So I mean best for your future. Okay, but before that, Lucas, let introduce yourself to the students. Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah, no problem. Hello, everyone. It's good to be here with you today. I am about 12 hours, 11 hours behind you right now. So it is 8:50 p.m. In Canada on Tuesday. So you're living in the future. You're a day ahead of me. But it's good to be with you all. I don't think I've met a couple of people from St. John's, but never really gotten to know anyone other than Coach Agung, or I guess Pa Agung to you. So it's good to get to meet you all. And as Coach Agung said, I met him just through a friend of mine, and since I met him, we've been training together for over a year. And now I'm in Canada, so obviously I'm not training with him, but the time spent that I trained with him has been a big influence in who I am and where I am today. So I know Coach Agung or Pa Agung is going to talk to you about nutrition today, and then I'll take over a bit and talk just a bit about how nutrition can play a role in your life, and the mindset that you can have about nutrition can actually be applied to pretty much anything. So I'll let Coach Agung or Pa Agung take it from here.
Okay, thank you, Lucas. So guys, before we enter the discussion with Lucas, I will present nutrition a little bit to make your education more better, especially while you do the exercise. Yeah. Okay, guys, I got it from DBL. Okay, optimal nutrition for basketball athlete, not only for basketball athlete, for any kind of sports. Okay, next, Miss. Okay, why is it important? Okay, boleh next lagi, Miss. I'll make it quick. Okay, sekarang the importance of nutrition. Yeah. Can you imagine there are 10,000 movement during the game? Yeah, like jumping, change direct, running, and so on. And then there are strength, power, endurance, speed, agility, and coordination. Those things already inside of our body, but are we trained that items or not? Ya, jadi apakah kita latih atau tidak? Ya, jadi item tersebut sudah ada di tubuh kita. Okay, strength, power, endurance, speed, agility, and coordinations like gym, strength, power, push-up, endurance, jogging, cycling, swimming, speed, sprinting, agility like ladder, agility footwork, and coordination like running ABC. Okay, next, Miss Reti. Yeah. Okay, guys. Let's see what are they. So if you take a plate, so if you wanna eat, like let's say the carbohydrate is 55 to 60%, and then 15 to 20 is fat, and 20 to 25 is protein. So you may add like fiber atau sayur ya. So ketika makan di piringnya itu karbohidratnya lebih banyak ya guys. Ya, karbohidrat apa aja sudah kita bahas, like rice and then bread ya, potatoes itu banyak sekali. Protein like fish, beef, okay, chicken. Fat itu juga also protein eggs ya. Lalu ada fat juga ya, lemak juga bisa. Jadi intinya ketika mengambil makanan atau piring, pastikan gizinya tepat. Oke, dan nih bisa dilihat sebelumnya Miss, pemain basket yang tinggi membutuhkan kalori yang lebih banyak. Oke, jadi wajar ketika doesn't mean that yang pemain yang nggak tinggi tidak membutuhkan kalori yang banyak, enggak. Jadi jelas tulangnya lebih panjang ya, massa ototnya juga besar, jadi dia membutuhkan kalori yang lebih banyak. Oke, boleh next Miss. Oke, carbohydrate is dominant fuel ya guys. So before you do some exercise, make sure that you already eat ya, especially carbohydrate ya. Jadi ini dominan. Apalagi kalian mau melakukan high intensity training ya, like sprinting, jumping, or fitness ya. Jadi harus ada karbohidrat. Oke, boleh next Miss. Oke, this protein, it can make your muscle better, and then it can recovery like proteins muscle cell that broken. Jadi bisa memperbaiki sel-sel otot yang rusak atau fatigue atau capek. Ya, setelah nge-gym atau latihan ya, ini bagus sekali untuk perbaikan otot ya. And then boleh next lagi Miss. Okay, this one is fat. Misalkan yang underweight, mau menambahkan massa beratnya, bisa mengkonsumsi fat ya. Apalagi you join the martial arts and then your weight is 50 and the class is 55, so you have to add 5 more kilos. You can eat this kind of fat. Okay, next Miss. Okay, now maybe we can ask Lukas about creating daily eating habit. This one is from Australia, Lukas. I get it from WBA that already have cooperation with DBL. So this one is like their student athlete eating habit. So Lukas, can you share maybe about your habit in States or Canada? Thank you, Lukas.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know if Coach Agung or Pa Agung has explained much to you, but I live in Canada now. I grew up in Canada, but then I lived in Indonesia for 5 years. And then I moved back to Canada just this year to play for a basketball team in Toronto. So I live in a house with my team, actually 2 teams. So there's 24 basketball players all living in one house with 4 or 5 coaches. And so we have all our food prepared for us. And that food is prepared for us not just to taste good and to be enjoyable, but also to help fuel our bodies, because we get up at 4:45 a.m. and we have practice, and then we go to school, and we come home from school and we have 2-hour practice again, and then we come back and we do homework, and then we hang out and go to bed. And so that kind of activity requires a healthy, balanced diet. And I think some people think that athletes only eat very healthy food. That's not always true. Athletes can still enjoy all the food that you enjoy, that you have always, your Indomie or your chitatos or whatever it is. You can still enjoy foods, but the idea is to be aware of how much you're eating and what you're eating so that you have a balanced diet. It's not saying you must only eat vegetables and chicken breasts. You know, it's you can have you can have fun and you can eat good food, but you need to be able to understand how that food will affect you if you eat too much of it.
Okay. Sounds good, Lucas. Thank you, Lucas. So as you can see, they have breakfast, mid-morning snack, and then lunch, and then pre-practice snack. So Lucas, what kind of snack? Is that fruit or what?
Yeah, so the snack depends. Sometimes it will be a protein bar, which is kind of like a granola bar, but with a bit of extra protein. Sometimes it's just a smoothie with vegetables and fruit and milk and things like that. Generally our snacks are protein. So protein is what's going to help give you the ability to rebuild your muscles quickly and to both grow and rebuild your muscles. So yeah, like you can have, it can be fruit and vegetables, but you see in the picture there how the apple has peanut butter on it. That's one easy way to make. Yeah. That's one easy way to take a normal vegetable and put some protein with it. Peanut butter is a great source of protein. So a lot of it is about trying to fit in as much protein as possible into your diet, so that you're, as much as you are breaking down your muscles by working out and exercising, you're also rebuilding them with that protein.
Okay, that's your favorite, right? Peanut butter, Lucas.
Oh, I love peanut butter.
Okay, like rehydrate, and then after practice, they have to do the strength and conditioning. So that intensity are quite tough ya, Lucas ya. Setelah latihan, mereka latihan lagi gitu, Lucas. That's why you have to eat the other snack or recovery shake, right? Yeah. Okay.
And I think sometimes, again, people think that maybe athletes, because their bodies look very fit or very strong, people think that athletes aren't eating that much, because I think in our minds sometimes we think if you eat a lot, you're going to get fat. That's not true. If you are exercising a lot and working on your body and breaking down your muscles, you need to eat a lot. I eat a lot of food every day. I probably eat more than twice the amount that some of you eat. But I also do that because I am maintaining a level of fitness that allows me to eat that much food. So being fit is not necessarily about eating less food. It's about eating the right food and exercising so that that food goes towards helping your body, not hurting it.
Okay, that's great, Lucas. So in Indonesia, snacks we call it gorengan, Lucas. You know gorengan?
Iya.
Jadi ya kadang habitnya sih Lucas di Indonesia memang harus diperbaiki. Ya boleh next Miss Reti. Okay, like this ya, pre-game. So you can maintain your time ya. Boleh makan besar di 3 to 4 hours before exercise ya, makan sedang and so on. Next Miss. Okay, this to avoid ya. Avoid the high fat ya, because proses pencernaan lemaknya lama sekali. Lucas, there's a story IBL team Aspak against Satria Muda, best of 3. First game Aspak won, and then the second game Aspak lose because the night before they ate like Tony Romas, like a lot of beef, sapi lada hitam, dan besoknya tanding a lot of players get injured, like a fatigue, cramp, itu banyak sekali. Jadi hindari tinggi lemak ya guys. Okay, boleh next juga Miss. This one guys. Okay. Bisa dilihat ya, 3 sampai 4 jam sebelumnya makanan utama. Lalu kalau sudah sangat mepet waktunya, bisa diganti dengan energy drink ya guys, kalau kurang dari 1 jam. Oke, boleh next Miss Reti. Ya, during game, ya ini penting ya Lucas ya. So can you tell us about your experience? I saw you already have competition in state, right? Udah ada, itu benar nggak di halftime harus minum, atau kalau lapar, if you feel hungry, you may eat snack bar or what else, Lucas?
Yeah, I think it's good if you are playing a long game or if you are in the middle of a long workout. I think it's good to be able to eat so that your body can maintain the level of energy that you are putting out. But you got to be careful that you don't eat too much. You can eat too much in the middle of a workout or in the middle of a game and suddenly not be able to work out much longer or play much longer because your body starts to react and tries to digest that food. I would say I personally, I like to be hungry going into games. Not too hungry, but I don't want to feel full going into a game. Because if your stomach is full, you are going to have more weight in your belly. You're going to be, to a degree, you're going to be bigger. You're going to be carrying around more weight. So I would rather be hungry. And once you're in a game, you're not going to notice that you're hungry. You're going to be playing the game. So it's much better. And then you can maintain your energy with water. I wouldn't recommend sports drinks. I think you can have your Mizone or your Pocari or whatever it is, but those are all man-made alternatives to water. And there's a reason why God gave us water. There's a reason why God didn't give us Mizone or God didn't give us Pocari. He gave us water because that is the best thing that you can drink to keep your body going. Don't listen to the advertisements that tell you Mizone or Pocari is going to make you better. It won't. It tastes good, and maybe it won't hurt you, but it's not going to help you that much. You drink a lot of water and you take care of your body. That's how you do well.
Okay, thank you, guys. Next, Miss Reti. Okay, post game.
Okay, well, I can talk to you guys a bit while we wait for Pa Agung to come back. So as Pa Agung said, I actually came to Canada this year, but I lived in Jakarta I lived in Sentul City for 3 years, then I lived in Karawaci for 2 years. And so now I'm actually in Jakarta playing for a prep basketball team, which means that there is a team in Canada that asked me to come back to Canada to play for them. And they basically choose the best basketball players across Canada and put them in a specific league and allow them to play each other. So it's kind of like preparation to play in college. So next year I will go to a university in Vancouver. I don't know if you all know where that is, but I'll be going there and I will be playing there for that period of time for those 4 years in university. But my time in Indonesia was a huge reason of why I'm here today. If I had only lived in Canada, if I had not moved to Indonesia, I don't think I would be here today. Oh, are you back?
Yeah. I'm listening. Yes, go on, Lukas.
Oh, anyway, as I was saying, my time in Indonesia had a large impact on who I am. And that was as a result of a lot of different people and coaches that were able to impact who I am. But I think it was also because of family and my family's decision to move to Indonesia. But Coach, I'll let you continue before you can finish your presentation before I start talking too much.
No. That's cool, Lukas. Okay, Miss Reti, can you share again the presentation? Yeah, next, Miss Reti. Okay, guys, this is important. One of the important things from exercise. Yeah, please stay hydrated. Okay, that it's dangerous. It can make your aerobic performance bad, and then muscle endurance also, muscle strength, and then get cramps. Itu bahaya ya. Jadi just like we discussed before, for anaerobic and aerobic exercise ya bisa dilihat. Jadi performance-nya menurun, lalu muscle-nya boro-boro melangkah itu udah nggak kuat lagi, udah nggak ada tenaga, konsentrasi buyar. Nah, why stay hydrated? Because mineral water can refill the oxygen inside the blood of human being. Jadi kenapa bisa kram gitu ya? Karena oksigen di dalam darah berkurang, jadi harus di recover dengan air ya. Jadi air bisa meningkatkan oksigen di dalam darah. Still you guys remember the commercial break of Aqua? Yeah, the actor said ada Aqua and then like get confused gitu ya. Jadi hilang konsentrasinya. That's why you have to drink. Nah, sama kayak lagi ujian, you allowed to bring mineral water, right? Jadi boleh kalau haus boleh minum. Okay, next, Miss Reti. Okay, like this. Yeah, don't too much. Okay, Wuchipi fun like Chinese apa peribahasa ya, jangan berlebihan, jangan jangan kekurangan juga minumnya. Oke. Uh, Kalau kalian pernah tes darah dan susternya bilang kok darahnya terlalu kental ya, itu kurang minum tuh biasanya. Jangan juga jangan kebanyakan, bahaya, bisa bengkak kakinya, bisa mual juga. Oke, next miss. Okay, for example, you after practice and you don't find food or meals, you may sub with the drink or juice ya. Boleh ganti minumannya yang baik, jus tomat dan belimbing. Okay, thank you, Miss. Next. Okay, I think that's all from the nutrition presentation. So know your needs, and then just because Lukas, I think his activity is a lot of energy. So I hope this presentation will relate with your life, Lukas, because you are a student athlete and also active, right? So now I let you to share your experience about your activity, what like your family environment. I saw your attitude is really good, Lucas. I quite amazed that you have a good size of body. You're still senior high school, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, maybe it's different. The genetika mungkin berbeda, tapi secara postur kamu sudah sangat atlet sekali gitu. Jadi saya persilakan Lukas untuk share pengalaman perihal hobi, kehidupan sehari-hari, latihan dan segala macam. Silakan Lukas.
Yeah. So like I was telling you guys, I was born in Canada, but when I was 13, I moved to Indonesia. So from when I was 13, I had just turned 13 until I was 17, I lived in Indonesia. My family, both of my parents are teachers. My dad is a head of school, kepala sekolah di Sekolah Pelita Harapan. Dulu di Sekolah Pelita Harapan Sentul City, terus habis 3 tahun di sana, keluarga saya pindah ke Sekolah Pelita Harapan Lipo Village. So I can speak a bit of Indonesian. My Indonesian is a bit, how do you say it? Kaku. My Indonesian is a bit kaku, so I will try to speak in English today, and I hope you all understand. But if you don't understand, please let me know, and I'd be happy to try to explain a bit clearer. So yeah, like Coach Agung said, I think I could talk for a long time today about a lot of different things, but I think the basis of what it comes down to is an attitude, and I think it's actually an idea, and I think it's an idea that you are here on this earth for whatever reason, and whether you're a Christian or not, you can have different beliefs. I'm a Christian. I grew up a Christian, and I still am a Christian, and I believe that God has a purpose for all of us, but not all of you may be Christians, and I think some of you may have different beliefs, and that's okay. As much as I believe that, as much as I believe in the Christian faith, I understand that there are people that maybe do not believe, but I think you have to have an understanding about who you are and an understanding about the time and the blessings that you have been given. And for me, as Coach Agung said, he said, maybe something has to do with genetics. That's kind of true. I am 6'1", 6'2", so I'm 188 centimeters. So I'm pretty tall, but I could show you lots of pictures of how I looked 2 years ago. I was very skinny. I was not in shape. I could not run very fast. I was never really that athletic. That all came because I really wanted to play basketball in college. And I remember I was sitting at home watching YouTube. I'm sure lots of you can relate. I still like to watch YouTube. I think YouTube has a lot of great things on it. But I was watching YouTube and I was watching a video of a college basketball game, and I thought to myself, this is awesome. This is something I want to do. But I had barely played basketball before. This was in, I think, grade 9. So right around the age of you guys. I thought I really want to play college basketball, but I didn't know how. I didn't know anyone who had really played college basketball. I didn't have a personal trainer. I didn't know Coach Agung at that point. I didn't have almost anything. And all it took was really a decision. And it was a mindset. And my mindset was, okay, I don't know if I'm going to play college basketball. I'll never be able to know, but I'm going to make every little decision possible every day to put myself in a position where I will have the best possible chances of being able to play basketball. So I'll tell you what I did. I started waking up at 5. And before that, I'd woken up at 6:30. So not a huge difference, an hour and a half, but enough of a difference to make a day, enough of a difference to be noticeable. And so instead of waking up at 6:30, getting showered, putting on my uniform, going to school, I woke up at 5. I made my different schedules for myself. Some days I would be running. Some days I would be doing workouts. Some days I would be training basketball, doing different drills. I didn't have a trainer. I didn't have anyone helping me. I looked up on YouTube and I looked up how to get better at basketball. And I just worked really hard. And I did that for the past 4 or 5 years. And even in that short period of time, that has made such a huge difference for me. 4 or 5 years ago, I guarantee you 4 or 5 years ago, when I was in grade 9, you guys were in grade 9, some of you probably could have beaten me at basketball. I was not very good. I just really wanted to get better. And that's something that you'll see in life, is that it's not always the people that have a lot of talent that do really well. And I'm not saying that some people don't have talent. I have friends here who never work out or rarely work out, and they can jump way higher than me. And that's the fact. Some people have great genetics. Some people were put in positions that make them a bit more likely to succeed. But if you sit at home and say, oh man, they're really good, I'm never going to be that good, what is that ever going to do to you? It's going to do nothing for you. And so, yeah, is it true that maybe I'll never have a 40-inch vertical, or maybe I'll never be doing in between the legs 360 dunks? Yeah, it's very true. I won't. I never will be. But I can be the best possible version of a basketball player that I can be. And I think if you decide within yourself, and it doesn't have to be, I want to emphasize to you as well, that doesn't have to be basketball. Yeah, I'm a basketball player. Coach Agung is a basketball player. We love basketball and we love it. Like, if we see balls bouncing on a court, we want to be there. That's kind of what we want to do. But I get that not all of you are like that. Some of you may like music. Some of you may like video games. Some of you may like reading. Some may like art. That's great. And the world needs a lot of people who do different things. The world doesn't need 7 billion basketball players. But if you can make a decision and look 5 years into the future and you think, okay, where would I really want to be 5 years from now? For some of you, it's working. For some of you, it's being in university. For some, it's different things for all of you. But if you have the ability to plan out a goal and look at your life now and try to put into place little things that are going to help you get there, it's a superpower. It really is. And I don't mean that to sound stupid, because I know that sounds stupid, but it really is the ability to look at a final goal and put into place just little things. For me, all it was an hour and a half a day, 5 till 6:30 every morning. But if I was consistent with it, which I was, I improved. And as I improved, I began to see, oh, well, maybe I can do this during the day. So then I start working out at lunch in the schoolyard. And then I start doing extra workouts and teaching other kids. And it grows, but you don't have to. And it applies to the same nutrition thing. You don't have to start following all of those rules immediately like that, because you never will. You'll never be able to. It's not, the human body doesn't have the ability to just immediately change yourself like that. It doesn't work that way. But if you can gradually start putting those things into effect, you can break down a big goal into very, very small little steps. And suddenly a big goal is just like a little staircase. It's like you look at a cliff and you say, okay, that's a really high cliff. I can never get up there. It's true. You can't get up there right now. But if you take your time building a staircase up there, you can get there eventually. And that looks different for everyone. Justin, let me ask you, what is one thing that, and I think everyone has this too. I think everyone has something that they want to get better at. And it could be school too. It can be lots of things. But Justin, I want to hear one thing that you 5 years from now want to see yourself doing.
I think I want to get better at my math skills in 5 years from now, and start joining other competitions, math competitions.
Math competitions. Right. Exactly. Now me, I'm not very good at math at all. And that's totally fine. I would like to be better at math, and maybe that's something I should be doing. But for Justin, that's something he really wants to do. And so Justin, that, I'm sure you like math, but if that's a big goal of yours, how much time of your day are you putting towards that? And not to call you out, but I would guess you're probably not putting more than an hour or two, or even an hour towards that, right? If you're sitting at home for 4 hours a day studying math, I would be really impressed, and I would say, go Justin, like that's awesome. But my guess is you're probably not every day spending 4 hours studying really hard at math, as much as we would like to. And the same was for me. I wasn't spending 4 hours doing basketball. But if you can start making little changes in your life, like if all it is outworking someone else. So for me, I looked at my basketball team at my school and I said, okay, how am I going to be better than these people? Not that I didn't like them. They were great guys. They were my friends. I really liked them. They were my teammates. But obviously, to get better at something, you have to be able to compare yourselves to others. Because if you have no one to compare yourself to, how do you know that you're getting better? So, okay, you compare yourself to your people in your class, or you compare yourself to your teachers, or you compare yourself to YouTube videos you watch online about people doing math problems or solving math problems or working on things related to math. And even if you're putting 30 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour into that a day, that's going to make a big change for you. Because if you do that for a week, that's 7 hours. Okay, 7 hours, big deal. I can study 7 hours of math in one day. But if you do that for a year, that's 365 hours. I'm never going to catch up to you, right? And it's all about how it progresses over time. When I started to take basketball seriously, right, it looked kind of silly because I was putting all this effort into something and I wasn't that much better than everyone else. And so a lot of people were like, why are you doing this? Like, what is the point? And if you have the ability to look into the future and see your long-term goal, then you know why you're doing it. And not everyone does. That's fine. Not everyone has to understand you. But if you can look into the future and make that decision, then you can get places that you'll never think you can get. Because I can tell you right now, 5 years ago, I would have absolutely no clue. I would have moved away from my family, moved to the other side of the world to live with a basketball team and train and travel around the country and play with them. Never would have known, never had any clue. And none of you would have ever guessed. And that was because I was not in a position at that point to be able to do that. And the only reason I can do that today is because I put certain things into my life every day that would help me get better a little bit every day. And that's all it is. You don't have to wake up every day and think, I have to be 50% better than yesterday. No, all it takes is 5%. If you're 5% better today than you were yesterday, a week from now, how many percent is that? Well, that's 5 times 7. That's 35%. You're 35% better a week from now. It's not about every day jumping up. It's about gradually improving every day. And I know Coach Agung knows that too, because Coach Agung is a basketball coach. He knows his players are not every day going to master a new skill, but if every day they can start working a little bit on it, they'll gradually get better. So I guess I want to, I don't want to talk for too long, but I do want to ask a couple of questions, and maybe Coach Agung, you can ask some questions too. But does anyone have any questions, anything they're wondering, anything that's on their mind? Because I'd love to answer different questions.
Yeah. Wow, what a great experience from Lukas. So the point is progression, yeah, Lukas, yeah. At the same time, someone out there is training hard or studying hard to beat you. So what are you doing? Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. So
and Justin, you said you like math, right? I'm sure you probably know what compound interest is, and that's the idea that, and maybe you don't, maybe it's a different term in Indonesia, I'm not sure, but it's the idea that if you're doing 5% today and you're doing 5% tomorrow, that's 10%. But after a week, that's 35%, and as it adds up, it becomes way more. And so all it takes is time, and you have to be patient. You can't go into things thinking I am going to immediately get really good at this, because it's never going to happen. You have to be willing to fail, and you have to be willing to not be very good at something for a pretty long time. Because for a long time, I remember one summer, and I don't know if all of you are basketball players. In fact, I'm sure not all of you are basketball players, so not all of you are going to understand this. But when I was 13, I shot a basketball like this. I push it out with both hands from my chest. Very bad shot form. I'm sure most of you know the basic shot form. You take your hand like this, you go like that, and you shoot. But I had a horrible shot. And it took me at least 3 months of training for hours every day to be able to consistently shoot like this. And it took a long time. And if I had just said, oh, well, I'm just going to shoot like I normally shoot, I'd never have gotten better. So it's not about the today or the tomorrow or a week from now. It's about 2 months from now or 5 months from now or a year from now or 5 years from now. Because my basketball journey started 5 years ago and no one would have ever guessed, and I would have never guessed that I'd be here. And I want you all to know that, and I know not all of you are going to take this to heart. Some of you are going to think, oh, well, Lucas is just saying that, he's obviously, he's obviously really tall. He's a bule. He's really good at basketball. But it's not true. I had many friends that were Indonesian that were way better than me and still do. I have lots of friends that are Indonesian that are better than me at basketball. But it's all about your decision, what's in your head, and your dedication to a goal.
Oh, well, that's cool, Lucas. Okay, before we enter the question and answer session, I would like to say hi to Miss Alvina. Thank you for joining us. Miss Alvina is the principal for junior high school, Lucas.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for
Miss Alvina, for your info, Lucas' dad is the principal of SPH Lipo Village.
Okay. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Miss Alvina. Okay, guys, question and answer session. So if you guys have a question, you may raise your hand and please turn on your speaker. Ya, dipersilakan.
Yep, Josh.
Okay, Josh.
All right. Hello, Lucas. I have some questions. It's pretty simple. It's just about self-awareness. I was just wondering if you have any questions about, I was asking on how I would be able to improve my own self-awareness. Maybe if you have any like self-awareness questions that I could use for myself from day to day to be able to improve it.
Yeah, and a good question. And I was listening to a podcast earlier this morning about habits. And I think that that does, I think, tie into a lot of what I'm talking about today. And habits actually are what make you who you are. And I know some of you think maybe, I'm a person and my habits are outside, but you are what you do repetitively. If I get up every morning and I work out repetitively, that's a habit, but that's also going to impact who I am. If you, Josh, get up every morning and you play 3 hours of video games, that is going to impact who you are. And so I think self-awareness, I think that has a lot to do with being aware of the decisions that you are making on a daily basis. And I know today, a lot of what you're going to hear from people is, you're amazing, you can do everything, you're awesome, you're perfect as you are, you don't have to try. And I don't think that's true. I think a lot of you guys are Christian, and from a Christian standpoint, that's not true. We know we are not perfect people. We're sinful. We make mistakes. But even if you're not a Christian, I think it's very easy to see that we're not perfect people. If any one of you could look me in the eyes and say you're a perfect person, I'd be very surprised, because I know I can't look any of you in the eyes and say I'm perfect. I know it, 100%. I make decisions every day that I regret making. And that's the reality of life. You're never going to make really good decisions all the time. But I think self-awareness is the ability to understand why you're making bad decisions and change that. And so if you after this is done, if you go sit on your bed and you think for 5 minutes about all the different habits that you have that are not helping you, I don't know what it is. It's different for different people. Sometimes it's eating habits. Sometimes it's what you're watching. Are you watching good things? Are you watching bad things? Should you be watching anything at all? I don't watch any TV. And that's partly how my parents raised me. I never had TV in my family, but I don't watch any, and I still don't. And you know how much time that's saved me? You know how much better I am at basketball because I don't watch TV? Because if I watch TV, I would probably be spending, 2-3 hours, maybe even half an hour a day. But after a year, half an hour a day is 700 hours. That's a lot of time that would be going into watching TV. And even if you're telling yourself, oh, I'm only watching TV for half an hour a day, again, that's 700 hours in a year. That's 365 times 30. That's 700 hours, times half an hour times 0.5. That's 700 hours in a year that you're watching TV. So yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot if you look at a year. And if you look at 5 years or 10 years, that's even scarier. And so if you can, after this, go and sit down for even a minute and think to yourself, what are the different things that I'm doing every day that are killing me, that I know are not helping me, and I still do them because I'm stupid. And I do it too. I'm stupid. I wake up every morning and sometimes I hit snooze on my alarm, or sometimes I fall back asleep, or sometimes I eat too much food, or sometimes I get too distracted and I don't pay attention to school. It's bad. I know it's bad, and I still do it because we don't always have good control over our brains. But I think if you get the idea out of your head that you're perfect, because I feel like people tell you so much, and it's true. And I know God, as Christians, we believe that God loves us, and we don't have to do anything extra for him to be loved. And this is not saying I need to be better so that God loves me, but it's this mindset of God has given me so much, and I'm wasting it. Whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or any belief, how much of an insult is that to God for him to give you those talents and abilities and this time, and for you to say, no, I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to sleep another 2 hours, or I'm going to eat a ton of food and not take care of my body. I think that's the opposite of how a Christian should live. I think we should be wanting to make the best of ourselves. And so I think, like you said, self-awareness, like I have gotten to the point where I don't care what other people think of me. I really don't. And I think not all people have that. And I know I didn't have that. I used to love social media. I used to constantly be looking at how many followers I had and trying to make sure I had the most followers. I would want to see if I had more followers than my friends. And so I'd look at my numbers. And I think that was a sign that I wasn't self-aware, that I was trying to figure out who I was in something so little as a phone. Who cares? Really, who cares? What is that ever going to do for you? At the end of the day, I think self-awareness is being able to sit down and think, okay, how am I making decisions to help me, and how am I making decisions that are going to not help me? And if you can and again, like I said, it's not about eliminating all the bad things like that. It's not going to happen. It's if you have it in your brain that you can sit down and immediately eliminate all the bad habits you have, you're going to fail, and you're probably going to be even worse off because you're going to get all depressed and think, oh man, I can't change. Well, it's not true. You just have to tell your brain, I'm going to change gradually. I'm going to slowly make decisions that are going to eliminate those bad habits. I did it today. I sat down and I wrote down a list of things that I'm going to try to cut out of my life. Some of those things were TikTok. I had TikTok. I don't post that much on TikTok, but I watch TikTok. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure y'all know there's a lot of fun stuff you can watch on TikTok. But then I look at my screen time on my iPhone. I'm spending an hour and a half a day on TikTok. Well, that's crazy. I don't want to be spending an hour and a half of my day on TikTok, but I was doing it anyway. And why was I doing it? Because it's easy. It's easy to spend time on TikTok. And it's fine. And I'm not telling you these things are necessarily bad. TikTok's not bad. TV's not bad. Food isn't bad. But if you take too much of something, it's going to ruin your life. If I'm watching 6 hours of TikTok, that's way worse. If I'm watching 8 hours of TikTok, that's horrible. So I'm not saying that, watching half an hour of TikTok is bad, but there are definitely better things that you can be doing. And I think that's self-awareness, being able to pick out the little things that you can improve on and gradually say, okay, I'm going to stop doing that. Or I'm going to cut that out of my life. And that's how you gradually get better. And I think that's how you become more self-aware as a person.
Wow. Goosebump. What a great answer, and also what a great question from Joshua. So habit become character, and also character become identity, right? And then see, that's a fact. What Lukas had explained is a fact. Jadi sangat disayangkan ketika kita membuang waktu banyak atau wasting time ya. I put in my mindset, someone out there is training hard, studying hard to beat me, so apa yang saya lakukan hari ini? Dan betul sekali, getting better every day itu bagus ya. nggak apa-apa jalan pelan, yang penting melangkah ke depan gitu ya, nggak apa-apa ya. Jadi harus sabar, be patient, jangan ada yang instan ya. Mie instan aja harus direbus dulu ya kan. Jadi ya tidak ada yang instan. Bagus banget ya Joshua pertanyaan. Lukas juga jawabannya juga keren. Silakan, ada lagi yang lain yang ingin bertanya? Anything you want? Oh, Justin, ya silakan Justin.
Hello, my name is Justin, as you've known before. So I want to ask one thing. Lucas, since you lived in Canada and you've also ever lived in Indonesia for 5 years, may I know how's the work ethic in Canada different to Indonesia's work ethic, and how do you really adapt with it, and how does it influence you? Yeah, thank you.
That's a good question. I think my perspective on the work ethic in Indonesia was shaped a lot by my school. And so I went to SPH. I don't know if all of you know SPH. I'm sure some of you know what SPH is. And SPH is a kind of a similar school to St. John's. It's a Christian school. It has an academic focus. There are differences. There are different schools. They have different people, but a lot of it is similar. And I want to emphasize that in Indonesia, you would be surprised, but a lot of times you are actually getting a much better education than Canadians are. And I fully mean that. I have actually been in a public school in Canada, Sekolah Negeri, basically, in Canada, for a year now. The first year of my life I've ever been in a Canadian public school, because when I lived here, I went to a Christian school that my dad was the principal of in a different part of Canada. But I think you should get it out of your heads that because you live in Indonesia, get it out of your heads that because I am in Canada, or because Canada and the US and Australia and Europe are seen as, places you want to go, that those people are doing better than you. It's not always true. And I want you guys to really realize that, yes, there are great things about everywhere. But in my experience, my friends in Indonesia that I went to school with had much better work ethics than the friends I go to school with here. And that didn't have anything to do with their ability. I'm not saying that Canadians are somehow dumber, or I'm not saying necessarily that you guys are smarter. But I think there is a difference in Asia of work ethic that I think in North America we used to have, that we have lost. And I think I don't know exactly how that should influence how you live your life, but I think you should also, if some of you are wanting to grow up and go to school in America, or go to school in Australia, or go to school in Canada, and by school I mean university, or work or live in any of those countries, or any other country that you want to live in, don't assume that you can't do it, or that you're at a disadvantage because you're from Indonesia. A lot of times that is an advantage, because I think most kids growing up in Indonesia, whether you're at in a Christian school or a Muslim school or any school, I think there is not much of a difference in work ethic. And if there is a difference, I would say Indonesia has a much better work ethic. And that's my personal opinion. Now, I may be wrong, but that is my experience, that I have lived in both countries and I've seen what it's like. And I also played sports in both countries. I think it's true that Canada and the US have much better sports than Indonesia does. But that's not necessarily because Canadians or Americans have a better work ethic. It's also because Canada's a much older country and America's a much older country. Indonesia was founded when? You guys know? I'm sure you know. 17 Agustus tahun 45. Everyone knows the song, right? It was 1945. That was less than 100 years ago. And so Indonesia is a young country. It's growing and things are growing. If you want to look at sports, the IBL is growing, or DBL is growing, or whatever sport you want to watch. Things are growing. And so you can't compare and say Canada and the US are better. Well, sure, they're better right now for sports, or maybe they have better universities. But they're also it's very hard to compare because we're farther ahead. We've had the benefit of having a country, having a system for much longer. So I don't want you to necessarily, because what I've seen among my friends in Indonesia is that people grow up thinking, I want to live in North America. I want to live in Canada. I want to live somewhere that's different from Indonesia. I can tell you right now, after I graduate university, I'm probably going to come back to Indonesia and work there because I love Indonesia. Indonesia is like a second home for me. And I say that as someone who knows what it's like to live in both countries. Trust me, I've lived in both countries for long periods of time. So I think work ethic, I think, in my personal opinion, I think Indonesia on a general scale has a much better work ethic. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my personal experience. That's a good question. I appreciate that question.
Nice, Lucas. Thank you, Justin. So I think like two things that compare with the others is facility and also culture ya, Lucas. Jadi speaking in sports ya, Justin, fasilitas dan budaya kita memang harus diperbaiki. Benar, kita masih muda, negara yang sedang berkembang. So hopefully in the future we're still getting better and better again. Jadi banyak sekali faktor penghalang prestasi, ada salah satunya adalah fasilitas dan budaya. When I got a scholarship from junior NBA and I went to China, 7 o'clock start practice, the player already in the basketball court around 6:15. Ya, jadi 45 minutes before already stretching, already well uniform, well jersey. So it's kind of different, but hopefully we're getting better and better, just like Lucas said. So, is there any question from the other students? Siapa lagi?
Yep, Kezia.
Oh, okay, Kezia. Oh yeah, for your info, Lucas, Kezia, you still remember SPH Cup?
Oh, I remember. I know who you are.
Okay, she's the one who make SPH a little bit.
I remember.
Oh, okay.
What's your question, Kezia?
Okay, so this like a simple question for me. So maybe do you have any tips for us to perform well in our daily life, or maybe for me as a player to do my best in a game?
Good question. I think a lot of it comes down to the same thing, and I think to me, I almost view life as a game, and that's why I love basketball. Because to me, basketball is kind of the same as real life in a sense. Like what you do in your life, you're preparing yourself to succeed in the future, and what you're doing in sports is the exact same thing. You're putting in work today so that tomorrow or next month or next year you can be a lot better. So tips to succeed or to play well in game, in a sports standpoint, basketball, I would say it's all preparation. 100% of it's preparation. Preparation makes a player or breaks a player. I have friends, trust me, I have friends here that are extremely talented players. Very, very talented. Extremely, I'm one of the shortest players on my basketball team here. I'm like the second shortest player. I have friends who are 6'10", who are, super, super tall, very athletic. But sometimes they don't prepare, or they don't take care of their body, or they eat wrong, or they don't stretch, they get injured. You can have a ton of talent and not succeed. And I think that's the same with life. You can have an incredible musical talent, but if you don't practice and you don't get better at it, you're not going to do that well. You can be really smart. You can be book smart. You can understand words really well. But if you don't practice that, you're never going to make the most of it. And so I want to say, if you want to succeed in life, and that's a hard question to answer because success for different people looks differently. The concept of success for you might be different than the concept of success for me or for Pa Agung. But if you can look at your life and say, okay, what is success going to look like for me? What are your goals? How are you going to succeed? Well, it comes down to like what I said. If you can take a big goal and break it down and say, okay, I'm going to accomplish this, and I'm going to accomplish this, and I'm going to accomplish that. It's not huge. Like for me, I remember grade 9, I just wanted to start on the basketball team. So then I eventually started as a grade 9 on the high school basketball team from grade 9 to 12. So I was the only grade 9 who was starting on the team. And then I thought, okay, I don't want to just start. I want to be the MVP. So I was the MVP. And I don't want to say that because me saying that makes it sound like I just magically became the MVP. No, it was because everyone knew that I was working my butt off to get better. I was in the gym every single day at 5 a.m. And then it became 4:30 a.m. because I wanted extra time. And once you see the first little goal pay off, then your brain started thinking, oh, wow, what can I do? You know, how good can I actually be? And I remember that for me, like I was not very, like, I mean that with all like I fully mean that I was not that good at basketball. And almost everyone who's really good at basketball is also going to tell you at one point they weren't that good. Very few NBA players or really good players grew up from age 3 being really good at basketball. It didn't really work that way. For most people, there's a point in time where they said, okay, I have a goal. How am I going to achieve that goal? And it's not about the end goal. It's about the little steps that are going to get you there. And so for me, like I said, went from being just from starting. So I wanted to start. Actually, first it was making the team. So I had never made a high school basketball team. So first I made the team. And then I wanted to start. So that year I started starting it by the end of the year. And then the next year I said, okay, I want to be MVP. So I was MVP for 2 years in Central. And then I moved to Lipo Village. And I was the MVP in Lipo Village. In Lipo Village, we won the championship. We beat UPH and we beat some other team in SPH Cup championship. I forget. And you know, things fell into place. And I know God had a role in that. So I don't want to make that, you know, seem like I am, you know, someone who's amazing and I'm putting myself out there. Like that's not true. You know, I've been blessed in many ways, but I do know a lot of that was because I made decisions that would put me in a place to succeed. And so that's life, right? Life, you're going to want to succeed. You're going to want to do well in your job. You're going to want, and for me, I'm really competitive. So for me, I measure myself based off the success of others. So if I see someone out there who's doing better than me, I'm going to try to figure out what they're doing, and then I'm going to do it better than they do. So, and that, you know, and that kind of ties in. Like I remember one of my, and I think I don't know if he'll be talking to you, but he's another one of the guests that Coach Agung is having, Michael James. I don't know if any of you know him. I think some of you probably know his name. He played for Timnas and he went to go play prep basketball in Las Vegas. Now he's back in Jakarta, but he was the best shooter I've ever seen in basketball. He was really, 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 really good at shooting. And I was not a very good shooter. So I became friends with him. I talked to him. I figured out what he did. I tried to study how he shot, how he trained, and figure out how he did it. And as much as he was a really good shooter, it wasn't because he was born a really good shooter. It was because he did certain things that helped him. And so this is another thing. And I actually, it's funny. I have a list of certain sayings that I have written down on my phone that I like to remind myself of. And one of them, let me just pull it up right here because I find this really interesting. One of them is this, that every person you meet is better than you at something. Everyone. I look at how many of you are in this meeting right now. 21 of you? Every single one of you is better than me at something. 100%. I know that because no human is ever perfectly well-rounded. It doesn't work that way. But so if I look at you and I say, okay, well, Kezia, I want to learn something from you. And obviously it's hard right now because we're on a big Zoom call. But if I'm getting to know you in real life, I'm not just getting to know you for who you are. I want to get to know you because I want to know what you're good at. And I want to know how I can also improve myself. As much as it's great to have friends, learn from your friends. You know, make use of your friends. It doesn't mean like you have to use them, but allow them to help you. And so for me, knowing MJ, knowing Michael James helped me because I tried to figure out what he did that he was really good at. And same with my friend James, who's also going to be helping. James had the opportunity to go to the US and learn a lot of really cool things. A lot of them are basketball related. And so I didn't know all those things. I was a better athlete than James. I was in better shape, but he had much better moves. He could move quicker. He was smoother. And so I asked him to teach me. I said, listen, can you teach me? And he did. And people will teach you. People like helping others. If any of you ask me for help with something, I'd love to help you. And I mean that. And so I think if you put yourself in a position to succeed, you'll succeed. You just have to have faith.
Okay. Thank you, Lucas, for your info. The person that Lucas mentioned is his friends. Yeah. Then I want to ask them to be the guest star to the other classes. Yeah, Michael James and also James. With different topic like sports injury because James already got injured ya Lucas ya. Jadi usia masih muda tapi sudah cedera dan menariknya cederanya karena main-main bercanda-bercanda. Nah, ini yang harus kita antisipasi. Ya, lalu kalau Michael James with different kind of lifestyle, nah nanti kita bicarain. Oke, Kezia, always be over prepared so you don't underperform, right, Lucas? Jadi persiapan itu lebih utama. Kobe said kalau kamu masih deg-degan di lapangan atau lagi ujian masih your heartbeat is really fast, it means you're underperform. Jadi kamu tanding masih deg-degan, takut lihat musuhnya, itu masih persiapannya masih minim. Ujian deg-degan belum dikasih soal, belum gurunya kasih soal udah aduh gimana ya, nah itu udah pasti persiapannya minim sekali. Oke. Dan setuju ketika Lukas bilang learn from each other. Just like I did, Lucas, saya selalu bilang ke murid-murid saya, ayo kita sama-sama saling belajar yuk. Kali aja saya dapat saran yang baik dari murid-murid. Like mind map, Kezia can still remember, right? Justin, mind map. Jadi saya ada tugas mind map, Lucas, like what kind of items from social, spiritual, like that. Ada murid yang bilang, gak usah pikirin yang gak penting. Jadi saya langsung, oh iya ya, kita bisa saling belajar, Lukas. Jadi benar sekali yang dikatakan Lukas dan pertanyaan baik dari Kezia. Baik, saya pikir satu pertanyaan lagi ya, kalau masih ada. Silakan, siapa?
I see Arnold.
Oh, Arnold ya? Mana Arnold?
Hi Lucas, I'm
Yeah.
Arnold. And for my question, I want to ask about your experience in life, about how you balance your life between sports and your education.
Good question. It's a real balance, and there have to be sacrifices. My final year at Indonesia, my alarm went off every day at between 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. Every single day. And that was because I wanted to be able to play basketball and also do really well in school. So I was going, I don't know if all of you know what IB is, International Baccalaureate, but it's about as hard of a high school education curriculum as you can take. And that's what they have at SPH and at Jakarta International School and British School Jakarta, and all the international schools in Jakarta have that. It's hard. And I'm sure what you guys have to do in school is also hard. And so you have to put a lot of time into your studies. And I would never tell anyone to focus on basketball or sports more than school, because I think school is very important. But for me, my schedule looked like this. I woke up at 4:30, whatever it was. I was in the gym before 5 o'clock every day. I met my friend James there, who Agung was speaking about. And we trained from 5 till 6:30. And then we didn't have enough time to go home and shower before school started. So we brought our clothes, we showered at school, and we went to school. We went to school from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. After school, I either had basketball practice or I worked out. So either team practice was from 3:30 till 5, or I worked out in the fitness room by myself. And now I know this is also different for you guys because right now it's COVID. This is before COVID. This was up until March. But you know, I also want to say you guys have the ability to do what you want to do if you want to do it. Right now, I'm living in a country. Sorry, I know this is a bit off topic, but I'm living in a country right now. Every single outdoor basketball rim in my city has been either boarded over or taken down. I can't go outside and play basketball. I can't walk into a store and buy clothes. I can't. I have to order it online, or I have to order it and wait for a month for it to come. It's crazy, and I don't agree with it. I think it's silly, a lot of it, and I'm not trying to tell you that COVID's a joke or COVID's a hoax, because I know COVID is real, but I think we should have much more freedom to live our lives. But that's beside the point. But I do want to say this: if you're using COVID as an excuse to not get in shape or to not get good at something or to not spend time doing the things you want, you're never going to get anywhere because there's always going to be things that are going to make it hard. So what do? Well, I found a friend who had a basketball hoop, his own basketball hoop. Not even a friend. I found someone on the road who had a basketball hoop, and I said, "Hey, listen, can I shoot shots on your rim every day?" He's like, "Sure, no problem. Like, you can have a basketball." You can find things to do if you want to do them. But that's beside the point. Anyway, so I woke up, I went to school, came home, had work to do, whatever. And then I went home after that, ate dinner with my family, I don't know, 5 to 6:30. And then from then until I went to bed, I did homework. So usually around 7:30 till 8:30 or 9. I was almost never in bed after 9 p.m. And this is as a grade 11. So, probably 2 years older than you guys. I'm pretty sure you're grade 9. So, around 2 years older than you guys. But I was going to bed, I guarantee you, probably earlier than almost any of you go to bed. And that wasn't because I was sleeping actually, maybe I was sleeping more. But it was because I wanted to wake up at 4. And so I knew that I could only use the gym from 4 till 6 a.m. So I said, okay, well, too bad. I'll go to bed early and wake up early. Like that was it. And so I made sacrifices. I had almost no social life. My social life was basketball and school. And that was fine. Like, honestly, I had more than enough social interaction playing basketball and going to school than I needed. I have my family. I was fine. I didn't need to spend hours playing video games. Didn't watch TV ever. Barely watched YouTube. Didn't play any video games. Still, like those are two. And as much as I know, probably lots of you play video games, and I'm not saying video games are necessarily bad, but I have never had a video game installed on my laptop. I don't have any phone games on my phone. And it's not because I think it's bad. I think you can have a lot of fun. I think you can even learn things. But for me, that was not a priority. That was never going to help me get where I wanted to go. And I think if any of you who really like video games actually sat down and thought about it, unless you're so good, you're in the top 1% and you're going to be a pro gamer, which is probably very unlikely. If you actually sat down and thought about it, I guarantee you'd probably agree that the games probably aren't getting you anywhere. They're really fun. I know they're fun. I've played some of them a few times. I know they're fun. I would love to play them more, but I chose not to because it took too much of my time. And so really, to succeed at academics in basketball or sports or whatever it is, you want it to be academics in music or academics and staying in shape or fitness, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. You can make those decisions. Trust me. And I'm not saying this to brag, but I had out of 80 people in my class, I was, I think, the second or third highest average grade. And that was along with going to bed at 9 p.m. every day, waking up at 4 a.m. and training for at least 4 hours a day. And I still ate dinner with my family. I still had fun. I still did things. So you can succeed at things you want to succeed at. You just have to make those decisions. If you're spending 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day on your devices, and I'm not talking devices like for school. I'm talking devices, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok. Maybe don't use Twitter. TikTok, YouTube, video games, whatever it is. Like, it's crazy how much time that takes up. Like, I'm disturbed every time I open my phone and I look at my screen time. Very disturbed. Because it says I'm spending, 6 hours a day on my phone? I'm like, holy crap, that is too much time I'm spending on my phone. Because that's not helping me. It's never going to help me. It's fun. I like it. I'm not saying don't have fun, but you have to be able to prioritize your priorities. And for me, my priorities were school and basketball and family. And I also went to church, obviously. I went to church. I played music in church. I played violin. I played piano. So I was able to have a great life, and I had a great year and a great 4 or 5 years in Indonesia. And I'm still having a great year. No, I don't watch TV. I don't watch many movies. I don't play video games. I promise you, your life can be great without those things. You don't need those things to make your life great.
Good question from Arnold. So Lucas, I can learn it from you, so I can apply to my daughters because since this pandemic, all of things are computerized, right? Online. So that's the challenge for everyone, Lucas. Sangat susah sekali memaintain ya. Bahkan online school aja memakai Gmeet atau Zoom udah pasti laptop atau komputer atau handphone. during the break time, saya nggak tahu nih murid-murid apakah main game atau istirahat, kita nggak tahu. That's why benar sekali, when you put into your mind the good things, so good things will happen to you. Jadi it's all about mindset, guys. Terus yang tadi Arnold katakan, bertanya, no sacrifice, no victory. Jadi semua pengorbanan pasti ada hasilnya, dan sangat jelas sekali apa yang diberikan Lukas, pengalaman hidupnya bisa menjadi bekal kalian menuju SMA atau senior high school. Karena challenge-nya lebih berat ya Lukas ya di SMA ya.
Oh yeah, and I want to say one more thing because this played a big role in helping me to make the right decisions. And it's a little bit complicated, so I'll try to explain it simply. Try to think of it this way. There's two people. There's the you right now, and there's the you in 5 years or 10 years. The time period doesn't matter. But there's future you, and there's you right now. The definition of someone who is smart and wise and going to succeed in life is someone who sacrifices themselves right now for who they want to be in the future. That means you make the hard decisions now. That means you delete TikTok from your phone. That means you set yourself limits on your video games. That means you eat the right food. Is that easy? No. Is it fun? Probably not. It's not going to feel nice. But I promise you it's going to help. And if you view it that way, if you view it as 5 years from now, if I make all the right decisions, what could I look like? And that's a pretty exciting to me. Like, I get excited when I think about that. I get excited when I look 5 years into the future and I think there are so many possibilities of the person I could be. And it all has to, that's the beautiful thing about life. You get to decide who you get to be. It's all about you. And I don't mean that in the sense to be, be self, don't think of yourself as better than others, because we're all just humans trying to make ourselves better. But if you can have the ability to look into the future and say, 5 years from now, I want to be there. If I can either sacrifice that person for who I am today, or I can sacrifice who I am today for that person. And I think you'd have to be stupid to say, I'm going to sacrifice that person for who I am today. That means I'm going to sit in bed and enjoy myself today. And 5 years from now, I'm going to think, man, I should have used my time better. I would hate that. And I don't want any of you to be like that too, because that would suck. And it gets me excited because I sit here thinking, okay, I'm about to go to university. In 3 months, 4 months, I'm going to go to university. So 5 years from now, I'm probably going to be done university and starting to get a job. Well, a lot of that depends on the decisions I make every day for the next 5 years. A lot of it has to do with that. If I am who I am today, 5 years from now, that's not going to be good. I don't want to be the same person 5 years from now that I am today. So you need to start having that mindset that you're not living for today, you're living for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years from now, and apply that. Because if you can't, you're going to be the same person you are 5 years from now as you are today, and that's scary. That's scary to me. I don't want that to ever happen to me or to any of you.
Oh, yes, that's great, Lucas. So getting better every day, and then be patient and just good things, do good things, and good things will happen to you, right? So just be patient and konsistensi ya, Lucas ya. Jadi penting sekali kalian menjaga konsistensi dan komitmen. Oh ya, bicara gamer, my brother is a gamer, Lukas, karena dari kecil suka bantu jaga warnet, lalu beranjak dari keluarga yang broken home. Adik saya ini, saya bingung ngarahinnya gitu, harus kemana nih? Ya udah akhirnya jaga warnet adalah. Tetapi benar kata Lukas, kalau programmer segala macam bisa menghasilkan, silakan. Nah, adik saya got scholarship from Metro TV. 100% nggak bayar kuliahnya, dan dia programmer dan dia membuat aplikasi yang ingin mempermudah semua orang. Ya lagi kayak panic button gitu, nama aplikasinya Save Us, nanti di launch sama dia. Ya akhirnya sukses. Jadi kasarnya kalau tadi yang Kezia tanya, kalau itu berasal dari hati kita tanpa ada paksaan dari orang lain gitu ya Kezia ya. Kamu sudah niat, saya mau begini, saya suka sama ini. itu udah gampang dilatihnya Kezia. Ini saya baru aja got haircut, ini masih muda kuliah di Amerika, si capsernya yang cukur rambutnya. Kok kamu suka cukur rambut? Saya tanya gitu, saya iseng aja. Ya saya suka kak, soalnya hobi. Oh itu akhirnya dia menghasilkan, bayangin customernya. Dia sempat motongin 2 pemain NBA waktu di Amerika. Jadi kasarnya dari hobi yang atas dasar diri sendiri, saya tanya, tapi orang tua gimana? Ya awalnya kurang setuju kak, karena cukur rambut begini. Nah, pada akhirnya ketika melihat hasil, dia improve, dia membuktikan ke parents-nya, sukses, nah orang tuanya support. Nah inilah guys, menurut saya ini mendapatkan topik atau materi yang bagus dari Lukas ya. Karena kelas lain mungkin nanti agak berbeda materinya, tapi yang pasti tolong kalian juga share ke teman-teman apa yang telah Lukas sampaikan ke kalian, kasih tahu juga ke kelas yang lain. Karena biasanya Lukas by the end of academic year, ini suka dapat pembekalan materi supaya mereka lebih siap nanti di jenjang SMA dan lebih well prepared sih. Jadi kayak gitu.
Yeah.
So,
and if any of you have any, I know class is almost over, but if any of you have any other questions or anything you want to ask me, I'll just I will put my Instagram or my WhatsApp or whatever in the chat bar, so you can message me or follow me or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'd be happy to talk to any of you if you want.
Okay, so I will give your WhatsApp number to my students.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh,
okay. So I think we almost done for this meeting, Lukas. Nah itu his Instagram ya guys. So for the last, if you have a message to the students, so students will get better and be prepared for the future. So please, Lukas, if you want to give,
Yeah, that's it. I if even 2 of you or 3 of you sat here today and you're going to make decisions and make those decisions to change those habits in your life, I'll be very happy. And I'd love to, if I can help in any way. I'm serious. Do feel free to message me on Instagram or WhatsApp. I'd be happy to talk. And that's because I love to see it when people make those decisions, because I know and if I know that I had certain people helping me, and I know I wouldn't be here if those people hadn't helped me. And so I want to be able to help other people do that. And not that I'm a huge success. Like, I've still got a long ways to go too. Don't think that I'm someone who's preaching to you from some high level. Like, trust me, I'm just a normal guy trying to do the best I can. So yeah, any questions, anything, please let me know. And I'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Lukas, for your time. Thank you, guys, for your cooperation and also your patience. So we're about to finish our virtual P meeting, Lukas. So may I ask Joshua to lead the closing prayer?
Yes, sir. Okay. Friends and teachers and Lukas, let us pray. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. Father, thank you so much for already making this seminar a success. Please bless Lukas wherever he goes after this seminar, so that he may stay safe in your hands and may do your work. For us students and teachers, we are going to continue our school day. Again, I surrender the rest of the day to you. I pray that the students may study well and that the teachers may teach well. In your name we pray, Amen.
Thank you, Joshua. One more time, thank you, Lukas, for your time. Hopefully, we pray for the best in the future for you, Lukas.
Amen.
So just let me know if you're already in Indonesia, so you can beat me in the basketball.
No problem.
Okay, Ms. Reti, thank you also for your time to accompany us while Zoom meeting. Ms. Reti, still can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Reti, apakah ada sesi foto atau gimana sebelum selesai?
Boleh, kalau mau sesi foto.
Ayo, boleh yuk foto. Okay guys, you may leave the Zoom meeting. Thank you, Lukas. Thank you semua. Thank you ya, sehat-sehat ya.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
Lucas. Thank you,
semua.
Mr. Agung.
Yes, thank you Justin.